Hello everybody, welcome back. I just returned from 2 weeks in the wonderful island of Sardinia, off the coast of Italy, of course, and I must say, this is a bit different, but still wonderful to be back in the studio, wonderful to see you again. And today I want to show you something really cool you can do with chords. We're going to start with very simple triads and then apply it to something a bit more complex, but certainly simple enough that any of you can follow along. Of course, there will be tabs and everything. And if you want to get ready for this video, in case you're not, if you want to watch it afterwards, I made a video not too long ago about triads, about learning triads on the fretboard. I think it's one of the most useful videos you can watch, so I'll post it up here, and if you are so inclined, feel free to check it out. So the idea is very simple. When you learn your triads, either in this video or somewhere else, you'll have learned that you can play them in closed position. What that means is that, for example, if we pick C major in root position, I play a C, a E, and a G, and these three notes are, if you look at them in standard notation, one right next to the other. Basically, between the C and the E, and between the E and the G, there is no room for another C, E, or G to be played. So when I play C, E, and G, they are as close as possible to each other. It's as simple as that. The same would of course apply to inversion. So if I play the first inversion here, there is no room between the E, the G, and the C for any other of these notes to be played, and the same thing of course for our second inversion, all right? And of course on any sets of strings it makes no difference. And the closed triads are actually extremely useful, but there's a wonderful trick you can use to make them even more beautiful, and that is to play open triads. And we're going to start from there and then apply it to something even cooler. So let's go back to our first triad, the root position of C major here on the 10th fret. And instead of playing it like this, C, E, and G, we're going to take the middle note, the E, and move it up a whole octave. And that will land on the 12th fret of the first string. And this is the sound. It's the same exact chord, it's the same exact triad, but now it has this wide open sound. And this is the magic of open triads. I can do it in other inversions, of course. Let's take the second one here on 5-5-5. That would be G, C, and E. Again, I take the C, the middle note, from the third string and bring it up an octave, which will land on the 8th fret of the first string. And I have this beautiful sound. And this is kind of the idea. Now, you could also take the middle note and move it down an octave, and they will still give you an open triad. Let's go back to the first one. C, E, G. Let's take this E here on the 9th fret of the third string as before, but now we'll bring it down an octave, which brings us to the 7th fret of the 5th string, and it sounds like this. Different, but still very beautiful. But, you know, this is quite simple. So one beautiful thing you can do is once you find an open triad that you like, you can then start modifying it. Again, I'm going to go back to the first triad on the 10th fret of the 4th string, take this E, bring it up an octave, and we have this. And of course, this is still a major triad, but now I can maybe go to the 3rd E and bring it down a half step, and that will give me minor. I could even maybe lower this 5th here, the G, down a half step, and that will give me diminished. I can go back to major and raise the 5th for an augmented sound. Right? These are all my triads all in one place. And of course, I could harmonize a full scale by using open triads, and that would sound like this. In the key of F so that I can fit all of it on the fretboard. So now let's take it a little step further and apply it to more complex chords. I'm going to pick the 7th chord, but you can do it with any other chords you like. But I'll start with C major 7th now, and we're going to use this very common fingering. You've probably seen it before. And we're going to apply a little variation of what we just did. So let's take any of the notes in between here, and I'm going to pick the B on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And I'm going to bring it up a whole octave. And so we'll move from this 4th fret here to the 7th fret of the 1st string. If it's a bit of a stretch for you, don't forget you can always play it a bit higher or change to a different chord. And this is what it sounds like, from this to this. higher voice has the 7th. It's a bit of a tenser thing, but really beautiful and very smooth. And again, from this starting point, I could do all kinds of stuff, right? I could take the 7th and bring it down for a dominant sound. Check it out. Major 7th, dominant. From here, if I lower the 3rd, I get a minor 7th chord. And I could get the half diminished, and so on. I could even bring it down a bit further and do a 7th sus2. Well, this is a bit hard to finger, but like that. And it goes on and on. It's really endless, and it's something you should really practice. I'm going to now harmonize in the key of C the whole thing like we did before, but with these 7th chords, and you'll see how beautiful it sounds. Now, if you wanted to take your favorite chord shapes and apply this whole concept to them, I certainly wouldn't have anything against that. As a matter of fact, I use it all the time to come up with really cool sounding chords and shapes that you simply don't find out there because there are so many of them. And in a lot of my songs, I end up using this. They seem intricate, but they really aren't. They're just me taking a chord, breaking it apart and rebuilding it so that it fits whatever I'm hearing in my head. And it's a great exercise for your ear and also for your fingers. So certainly check it out. You don't have to go to really complex chords. As a matter of fact, any chord between 3 and maybe 5 notes, that's the sweet spot. I would say 3 and 4 is best. And you'll have a great time doing it. I can promise you that. As always, thank you so much for being there and for watching until the end of the video. You'll find links to my Patreon, my books, and my music below, along with all the other ways you can support the channel if you choose to. But no matter what, I'll see you next week for more guitar goodies. Bye-bye.